How did a simple DNA test turn your life upside down? So, my entire family is falling apart right now, and it's all because of one decision I made. At first, it felt small. Honestly, I didn't think it would matter that much. But somehow, that one choice set off a chain reaction that's completely changed how my parents see each other, how my siblings see me, and how I see my mom. I never thought something this simple could cause so much damage, but here I am, caught in the middle of drama I never asked for, with everyone pointing fingers at me. And the worst part? I still can't tell if I'm the one who messed everything up, or if I was just the first person brave enough to finally uncover the truth. I grew up in a small town just outside of Denver, Colorado. Nothing fancy, just the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and gossip spreads faster than the morning news. My family was me, my mom Laura, my dad Mark, though he's technically my stepdad, and my younger siblings Emma and Jake. From the outside, we looked like your average family. And honestly, for the longest time, I thought we were. Ever since I was little, my mom was upfront about one thing: Mark wasn't my biological dad. But she also had a whole story about my real father. She said his name was Daniel, and that when she told him she was pregnant, he wanted nothing to do with me. She made him sound like a heartless man who just walked away, and I believed her. But here's the thing, Mark never treated me any differently. He was the one who taught me how to ride a bike in the empty parking lot behind the grocery store. He was the guy who sat through my school plays, even when I only had 2 lines. He was dad in every way that mattered. Still, growing up with this story hanging over me, it messed with my head. I hated this man I'd never met, this faceless guy who supposedly abandoned me before I was even born. Things got worse when I turned 12. I started having health issues. At first it was little stuff, fatigue, stomach pain, things we thought I'd outgrow. But the doctors weren't so sure. They kept asking questions, especially about family medical history. Every appointment went the same. Does this run in your family? Any history of this condition on your father's side? And my mom, Laura, would step in with her rehearsed answer: we don't know. His biological father refused to give any information. I can't explain how heavy that was. Imagine being sick, scared, and believing there's someone out there who could make things easier, but he's too selfish to care. That thought haunted me. Mark tried to make up for it. I remember one night, after a really rough doctor's visit, I broke down in the car. I asked him, why doesn't my real dad care if I live or die? And Mark looked at me and said, I don't know why he made the choices he did. But I do know this: you'll never go a day without me in your corner. I held on to that. But deep down, the anger at Daniel, my so-called real dad, only grew stronger. Every time a new doctor asked for history we didn't have, I hated him a little more. And I hated myself for being the kid who was abandoned. By the time I turned 18, I'd mostly made peace with the fact that I'd never have answers about Daniel, at least, that's what I told myself. But then, out of nowhere, my mom's younger sister Melissa pulled me aside at a family barbecue. Melissa has always been the oddball of the family, the one who says just a little too much after a glass of wine, the one who isn't afraid to call people out. That day, she looked nervous, almost guilty, like she was breaking some unspoken family code. She leaned in and said, you know, things aren't exactly the way your mom told you. If you really want answers, maybe you should look for them yourself. My stomach dropped. What was that supposed to mean? I pressed her, what do you mean? What aren't you telling me? But she just shook her head. I can't say more. But trust me, if you look, you'll find the truth. Just be ready for it. Then she changed the subject like she hadn't just dropped a bomb in my lap. For weeks, I couldn't stop thinking about it. What did she mean? Things aren't the way they seem. Was she saying my mom had lied? Was Daniel not the monster I grew up believing he was? But every time I considered digging deeper, I felt like I was betraying Mark. He had raised me, loved me, been there for me when no one else was. Would searching for Daniel make him feel like he wasn't enough? I hated myself for even thinking about it. Still, the thought wouldn't go away. Especially after another health scare landed me back in the hospital. More tests. More questions with no answers. I remember lying in that hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, and thinking, this isn't just about curiosity anymore. This is about survival. That night, I made up my mind. I ordered a 23andMe kit. It sat on my desk for a week before I even had the courage to spit in the tube. But once I sent it off, I couldn't stop obsessing. Every day I checked the app, waiting for the results. And when they finally came in, nothing in my life was ever the same again. When the 23andMe results came back, my hands were literally shaking. I logged in, scrolled through the matches, and right at the top was a woman listed as a paternal aunt. Her name was Rebecca. At first, I didn't believe it. I thought maybe it was some glitch, or some distant cousin mislabeled by the system. But when I clicked on her profile, there it was, a 25% DNA match. I sat there staring at the screen, heart pounding, debating whether I should even message her. Finally, I typed, hey, I think we might be related. Do you know a man named Daniel? She replied almost instantly, yes, he's my brother. Why? I didn't know how to say it. I just typed, I think he might be my father. Rebecca was stunned. She told me Daniel had never mentioned having a child. In fact, she was certain he had no idea I even existed. She asked me for my mom's name, and when I said Laura, she went quiet for a long time before replying. Oh my God. Daniel dated your mom. But they broke up suddenly. He always thought she just moved on. He never knew she was pregnant. My whole world tilted sideways. If that was true, then everything my mom told me, all those years of painting him as a villain, was a lie. Rebecca offered to act as a go-between. She said she'd talk to Daniel first, just to make sure he was prepared. For the next few days, I was on edge, checking my phone every 5 minutes. And then finally, I got a message, he wants to meet you. I can't even describe what that felt like. Relief, fear, excitement, it all hit me at once. When we finally met, Daniel was already waiting at the cafe, nervously twisting his coffee cup in his hands. The second I walked in, he stood up, and we just stared at each other. I could see it, the resemblance. Same eyes. Same nervous smile. He apologized before I even sat down. Over and over again. He said, I had no idea. If I'd known about you, I never would have walked away. Your mom never told me. I swear to you, I would have been there. Then he slid a folder across the table. Inside was a stack of medical documents, family history, genetic notes, even his own recent test results. He said, I wanted you to have this. I know you've been struggling. If you ever need a donor, I'm here. Whatever you need, I'll be there now. I didn't even know how to respond. After years of thinking this man didn't care if I lived or died, here he was, desperate to make up for lost time. And the craziest part? His family wanted to meet me too. Rebecca called me later, crying, saying, we lost 19 years with you. We don't want to lose another day. In that moment, everything I thought I knew about my past shattered. And there was only one person left who could explain why, my mom. I went home that night with Daniel's words still echoing in my head. The folder of medical records was sitting heavy in my backpack like it weighed 100 pounds. I knew I couldn't carry this secret. I had to talk to my mom. When I walked into the kitchen, she was washing dishes. I just stood there for a second, staring at her back, trying to figure out how to even start. Finally, I said, Mom, why did you lie to me? She froze, sponge in her hand, water running. What are you talking about? My voice cracked. I met him. I met Daniel. He didn't know about me. He never knew you were pregnant. At first, she laughed, this cold, dismissive laugh. That's ridiculous. Don't believe everything strangers tell you online. But when I pulled the folder out of my bag and set it on the counter, her face drained of color. She didn't even open it. She just knew. Why would you do this? She snapped. Why would you go behind my back? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Because I'm sick. Because I needed answers you wouldn't give me. Do you know how many nights I sat in hospitals thinking he didn't care if I lived or died? And all this time, you knew. You chose to lie. Finally, after what felt like forever, she slumped into a chair and buried her face in her hands. Fine, she whispered. It's true. I never told him. I was scared. I wanted a normal family. After Daniel and I broke up, I thought I lost everything. But then I met Mark, and he was good, stable. I couldn't risk it all by dragging Daniel back into the picture. So I told myself it was better this way. That you'd never need him. I just stared at her. Better for who? Because it sure as hell wasn't better for me. That's when my dad, Mark, walked in. He had overheard enough to know what was happening. His face went red, angrier than I'd ever seen him. You knew? All these years, you knew and you lied to me? You let me comfort him, let me hate a man who didn't even know? You made me part of this lie. Laura tried to defend herself, saying she did it to protect us, to keep the family together. But Mark wasn't having it. You didn't protect anyone. You robbed him of his father, and you robbed me of the truth. The room was dead silent after that. I don't think I'd ever seen my mom look so small. But the damage was done. And there was no coming back from it. That night was the beginning of the end. Mark didn't sleep in their bedroom. I could hear him pacing the living room until the early hours, muttering under his breath. The next morning, he was already packing a bag. Dad, where are you going? I asked, panicked. He stopped and looked at me with tired eyes. I'm not your mom's husband anymore. Not after this. But don't worry, I'm still your dad. That will never change. I wanted to be relieved, but all I felt was guilt. Because even though he said it wasn't my fault, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had lit the match that burned our family down. Within a week, Mark moved out into an apartment across town. He filed for divorce almost immediately. And that's when my siblings turned on me. Emma, my younger sister, cornered me in the hallway. Why couldn't you just leave it alone? We were fine before you had to go digging. Jake wouldn't even look at me. At dinner one night, he slammed his fork down and muttered, "You ruined everything." The worst part? A small piece of me agreed with them. The house felt emptier, colder. Everyone walked around like strangers, avoiding eye contact. And in the middle of it all, I couldn't tell if I was the villain, or the only one who had finally pulled the truth into the light. It's been a few months since everything came crashing down. Mark and my mom barely speak except through lawyers. Emma still won't forgive me. Jake pretends I don't exist. And my mom, she looks at me like I'm the one who betrayed her, even though she's the one who kept the biggest secret of all. The only good thing to come out of this is Daniel, my biological father. He's been in touch almost every day. He came with me to a doctor's appointment recently, and the relief on the doctor's face when they finally had my full medical history, it was worth it. I finally feel like I have a fighting chance with my health. But the cost? My family is shattered. My mom and dad's marriage is over. My siblings blame me for tearing our home apart. And I lie awake at night wondering, was it selfish to go looking for the truth? Should I have just accepted the lies and kept the peace? Or was I right to finally shine a light on what my mom had been hiding, even if it blew everything up? I can't answer that. All I know is that one choice changed everything. So, what do you think? Am I the one who destroyed my family? Or was the destruction already there, hidden under the lies, just waiting for someone to pull the thread?